What is up, Hammerheads? Welcome back to the Forge. Today, we're talking about money. Stay tuned. All right, guys, before we get started in the video, I want to give a shout out to the new affiliate that I have, which is Sportsman's Guide. Sportsman's Guide is a place where you can buy just about anything. They have everything from military surplus to outdoor survival gear to accessories to just about anything. I've found all kinds of cool stuff on their website. They have a really good membership program that gives you discounts and exclusive offers that are not offered to the general public. So check out the link in the bio so you can get on there and help support me by supporting them. So thanks, guys, and let's get on with the video. All right, guys, so let's talk about how to make money in 12 easy steps. Are you excited? I'm excited. And I'm just playing. I want to talk about how you price your items to where you can make a profit. Now, I've been blacksmithing now for about 15 or 16 years. I've been seriously blacksmithing for about the last 5 years. And I've been really focusing on turning this into a business over the last 2 years. Now, well, I'm going on my 2.5, 3 year mark now. Now, I've also owned multiple companies. Me and my brother owned 2 scrap yards together. Me and my wife owned a medical transcription company together. And I have worked in a lot of different atmospheres to be able to confidently say, I know how to price stuff. And I know how to look at things to be able to tell you what you need to do to make money on it. I can't do it with everything, but I can break down a lot of stuff and say, okay, what is your cost of goods? What is it going to cost to produce? So I know how to look at things a lot in a lot of different atmospheres to say this is what you need to do to make money. I've got 20 years or plus experience in this. So when I say I'm very confident in what I sell that I make money on, I'm really confident in what I sell that I can make money on. So getting started, I want to talk about this book I read, which helped me evolve how I price stuff. I listened to the book about 2 years ago. It's called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And it really helped me evolve how I price things and how I look at stuff in my pricing process. So in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he uses an example, and it's an investment book on investing in real estate and other things. And he talks about this phrase, or these 2 phrases called asset and liability. Now, your asset is anything that makes you money, and a liability is anything that costs you money. So in the book, he uses examples of like an apartment complex and your home that you own. Now, the apartment complex, even though you have to invest in maintenance and upkeep, it's still an asset because it's always producing money for you. But your home, your own home, is a liability because it costs you money. Now, before you blow up the comments saying, no, my home is my greatest asset, it's worth X amount of dollars, I want you to make a list of everything how much money that house brings into you every month. And you're going to have 0 in that, but you're going to have in your asset side, and you're going to have a lot in your liabilities because the home costs money. Now, do I believe that you should own your own home? If you can, great. If you can't, do whatever you got to do. You know, this is your life. But I'm a big believer in owning something. Even though it's a liability to me, it's still something I like owning and being able to do what I want to on it. Different aspect and different thought process, but before I get blown up in comments, it's still a liability because it costs me money every month. Now, I took those 2 phrases, asset and liability, and the definitions of them, and I applied it to everything in my forge. So let me walk over here. My forge over here and my propane, those are liabilities because the forge can't run without the propane, and the propane is a consumable. I'm always having to invest money into it every couple of months. So those are liabilities to me. Now, my anvil, now that's an asset. I had to buy it once, and then I turned around, and even though I have to do some maintenance to it, it never cost me anything, including my hammer, my tongs. They were a one-time purchase or a one-time build, But now I always have them. Even though I have to do some maintenance, they're still always there, and they're just producing for me. Now, I'm the one that's doing the producing, but they're here to assist me in that. That's why I consider them assets. So, let me fix my camera, guys. Sorry. There we go. So, now that you know what an asset and a liability is, and I want you to look at everything in your shop, your bandsaw, your sander, they have consumables with them. And what is stuff that actually is there, like your vise, that is an asset? It's only a one-time purchase, and it's always going to be there with minimal maintenance. So, that's your asset and liability for me in my blacksmith shop. Now, with that being known, I can look at how I need to price. Okay, guys, so let's talk about my formula that I use to price my items. Make sure I turned on the camera. Okay, I did. I hit record, but my little red dot went out, so I had to make sure that it was working. So, as I was talking a second ago, I'm going to use the concept of making a matchstick holder, okay? So this is what I do, the formula I use to make one matchstick holder and make sure I make a profit off of it, okay? So first and foremost, let's say this 1/4-inch round bar, when I buy it, is a 4-foot piece of steel. And I am just saying numbers, okay? Say this 4-foot piece of steel costs me $4.79 at the store. Before anybody jumps on here and says, oh no, it's more, oh no, it's cheaper, I just picked a number, okay? I know what it costs. I have it on my spreadsheet. So, say it's $4.79 for this piece of steel. Now, when I get home and input my receipt for my taxes, because I pay taxes on all my stuff, cash and everything, that's who I am. I'm too pretty to go to jail. I put $4.79. But when it comes to pricing the item, okay, this bar now costs $5 because I can do the math better, okay? That means in a 4-foot piece of steel, every foot is $1.25. And I do this because it's simple math. Even once I price stuff, I do very simple math because I don't like counting out a lot of change. We'll get to that here in a few minutes. So, each 1-foot section is $1.25. Now, I use a 1-foot piece of steel to make a matchstick holder, okay? I'm going to move this out of the way because it's bothering me. So, one matchstick holder, just the steel, is $1.25. So write that down. $1.25. Okay? I'll get to why I upped the charge also, besides the math is easier, in just 1 second, and you'll get it. Now, propane is a consumable, okay? And it costs me, I think I fill this up because I generally work in my shop about 2 hours a day, and I'm not up here every day, but I'm still averaging it that I do. Again, anything that is a consumable, I put the price a little bit more so I always know I'm making money. Even if I sell my item, say somebody comes up and says, hey man, I'll give you $13 for, or I'll give you $19. All I got's $19. You know, can I buy the matchstick holder for that? And I end up taking it for whatever reason. Then I know that I still made a profit, okay? That I didn't lose anywhere because I'm not stretched so thin in what it cost. My cost of goods is, you know, what my cost of goods is. But let's say I fill this up once every 3 months and it costs me $90 to fill it up, okay? So that's $1 a day. And the time that I'm up here, or $1 for the day that I'm using it. So for 2 hours, it costs me $1. We'll knock it down to 50 cents because, say, I'm going everything in a 1 hour period, but I'm not going to drop it any lower than the 1 hour period. So it costs me 50 cents. So a matchstick holder right now, I'm $1.75 in it. Okay? Now, I know that I can make a matchstick holder in about 15 minutes. And right now, people will be like, oh, you're selling them for too much. No. Listen to how this works. Hear the whole formula. Now, there's 4 15s in an hour. So that means my price to make one in 15 minutes, my shop time is $10. So now I'm $11.75 in this. One. So, $11.75 in this. Now, I'm going to go ahead and up that to $12. It cost me $12 to make it. And this is why. In the process of me and why I upped it to $5 on the bar of steel. Not just because it's easier math, but because if I walk away from my forge, say I get a phone call and I leave my forge running, I'm consuming fuel that I'm not using. So I need to allow for that. Because I'm using fuel that I am not producing from. So I always allow a little bit of change, and I up it to the nearest dollar because it's easier math, but I also up it because if I walk away for a minute, say something happened at my house and I had to run down real quick and help my wife with something, I don't turn the forge off, I just run down there and come back. I allow for that. So I can still make money off of it. Now, so in this, we're at $12. So that means when I go to set up somewheres, that one matchstick holder, I will make an $8 profit on. Okay? So I make $8 profit off of that one matchstick holder in the hour. Now, my next matchstick holder, I make a little more off of because my price of fuel goes away because it was paid for with the first one. Okay? And then the next one makes a little bit more because, again, my cost of goods drops everything I can get produced in that 1 hour time frame. So I hope that makes sense. Sorry about that, guys. I heard noise, had to make sure everything was good. I have a couple of very brave coyotes that keep trying to get in my garbage, and I'm afraid they're going to try to get close to my chickens. And they come out at all times of day. All right, so that is how... Sorry about that. Lost my voice. So that's how I come up with my price. Now, I'm sure there's easier ways, but I wanted to know in detail what it cost me. Now, let's talk about how to set up at a market or an online sale, okay? So, same matchstick holder, I have to allow for the price of whatever it is I'm setting up at. Now, I've been asked to set up at places and it was free. Like when I set up at Pioneer Days, I got to sell stuff, it was free. So that helped. But how much gas did you use to get there? How much these are factors you need to keep into place, okay? How much fuel does it take you to get there? Because the price of gas is expensive. Now, I'm not talking about an individual item, I'm talking about your whole setup. So how many items do you need to take and try to sell to make a profit there, okay? And a lot of people don't factor that in. They're like, oh man, I did so good. But if your table at a market costs you $100, plus some of them charge $100 plus 10%, and you only did $300, yeah, you walked away with some money, but did you make a profit? So you need to know your cost of how much everything costs you to produce, and how much your fees will be, and how much fuel you use to get there. A lot of people don't take that into consideration, including online sales. So on Etsy, it costs me a percentage, I can't remember what the percentage is, plus 20 cents to list, okay? But they're pretty good about it won't go over a certain amount. So it's this much money and that's what it'll be, or, you know, percentage up to it. But you've got to factor those things in when you price stuff. Now, I already have those things added into my price for whenever I sell things. That's why I up the charge a little bit on my cost of goods to factor in for an online sale or to help factor in for whenever I set up at a market or something like that. But seriously, take into consideration these things, because you'll end up losing money at a market very fast and think that you made money. But when you sit down and do the math of what you sold and what those items cost to produce, and then what the market took, you might end up actually losing money, a decent amount. So pay attention to that. Now, most markets, like I said, they charge a booth fee, and they charge a fee to plus your 10%, or some even charge up to 20% of your total profit. So you're paying, $100, $25 to $100 for your booth plus the 10%. You need to factor all of that into what you're going to be selling and saying, okay, I got to sell this much stuff to break even. And then after that, I make a profit. Now, one benefit is a lot of times when you set up at a market, a lot of those are one-time fees, but sometimes they're not. Hamilton County Fair, it was a one-time fee, but we have to pay that fee every year. Blade Show. So if you're traveling somewheres, okay, Blade Show, the booths are extremely expensive, and a hotel because it's too far to drive back and forth. So like this in the this next week, which will be February 2nd and 3rd, I'm going to be in Boaz, Alabama. So our booths were only like $25 a piece, but we also had to get a hotel room because it's too far to drive back and forth each day with the price of gas. I would spend what the hotel room is in gas. So factor all that in when you're setting up. But look at your whole setup. You're not factoring in a few items. You're factoring in like 100 items. So if you have 100 items and you're making $8 profit off each item, that's $800, okay? If I'm set up at Blade Show and do that, I'm not making a profit. If I set up at the Ooltewah Market or a market close by and do that, I am making a profit. So you need to take all those things into consideration when you're pricing your items. So one thing that I do is I look at my total amount and keep a list for a while. Now, I don't have to keep a list anymore. I know what I'm making. But write down when you're set up somewheres, okay? Write down what you sold and what you sold it for. So if you sold a matchstick holder, $20. A leaf hook, $15. A letter opener, $15. Add all of that up, then look at your fees and say, okay, I made a profit this time. And really figure out what you have to do to make a profit. Now, one hint that I want to throw in there. The first day you set up at a market, say like the Christmas market I set up runs for 4 weeks. The first day that I set up, I have a little bit of everything. Okay, I have dice, I have hooks, I've got matchstick holders, I've got knives, I've got everything. And then I look at what sold really good the first day, and then I go back and make more of those. And if you're able to, because like if it's a every week thing, you always want to evolve your products to what's selling good at the time. Still have your other stuff, but okay, like dice sold really well for me this year. Matchstick holders didn't sell as much. Last year I sold matchstick holders like crazy. You got to see what the market's doing. So what I do is the first week of the market is I look at what sold well and what I sold out of or sold really well on. And I come back to the forge and I make more of those products. And then I really push those products and let people look at the other things, but push your products. Now, this is one secret that I have. And I am blessed with this, and I'm going to give it to you and something to work on if you're not good. Learn to talk to people. Learn how to talk to different people. And you're going to be like, okay, what does that mean? If a 20-year-old person comes up, I generally say, hey, buddy, what's up? How's it going? How are y'all doing? If an older couple comes up, it's yes, sir, yes, ma'am. Very different tone. Learn how to read people, learn how to talk to people, and learn how to sell. You're selling yourself, okay? So be proud of what you made of. If you get there and someone walks up and it's like, yeah, I messed up on this, I did this, Don't ever talk about your flaws. Don't ever talk about anything that you did wrong. Okay? There are no mistakes. It's a design change. Flaws make stuff beautiful. Okay? You will see everything wrong with what you made. The customer won't. Okay? Talk about the benefits. Talk about how great it is. Talk about what it's used for. Know your products. Don't make something and not know how to talk about it. Okay? Matchstick holders, when I set up to sell matchstick holders, I have a mason jar candle there, and while I'm talking to people, I light a match and put it in there and show how it works. Flint and steel, if I'm set up outside, I'll sit there and make a fire so the kids and everybody can see it. And I have sold tons of stuff, fire kits, flint and steel fire kits, because I did demonstrations. Know how to use your products and know how to talk about them. Know the steel that you're using if you're making knives. Talk about how good it is and talk about all the benefits that's there. If you don't know about it, get online, YouTube, everything, and learn about it. So those are some tips that I want to talk about on selling. Know how to talk to people, learn how to talk to people, and learn how to really have that conversation. Because that's what a lot of times people want. They want you to be friends with them. They want you to build a relationship with them. And then learn your product, learn how to use your product, and know all the details about it. And be confident in everything that you're selling. If I could give you any more tips, I mean, those are the tips of gold right there. I can walk up into any business, and this is the only time you'll probably ever really hear me brag. I can sell ice to an Eskimo, as they say. Man, I don't want to get kicked off for saying that like that. But anyways, I had to make sure. I was like, man, I hope I don't get in trouble. But I can sell very well. I'm very good. I can walk into almost any environment and I can talk to people. I'm very good at it. So learn how to talk to people. Learn how to make people laugh. Learn how to cut up with them and make them feel very comfortable when you're talking to them. That is one key piece of information. If you take anything from this, take that. Again, learn how to cut up and talk to people and build a relationship. Because that's what they're looking for. I had people come to me at Blade Show last year and said, yeah, I bought necklaces from you last year. They remembered me. Be memorable in a good way. Know your product to the T and know how to use your product if it's something like a matchstick holder, flint and steel kits, herb choppers, and take things there with you so you can demonstrate them in a small way. So like if you got an herb chopper, take you some vegetables with you, a few carrots. A bag of carrots is cheap. And sit there and just chop it up on a little cutting board and people will freak out over it, okay? So guys, those are some tips and this is how I price my stuff, okay? I hope it works for you. If you have any questions, because there's a lot of crazy going on up in my head when I do some things that if I didn't make it real clear, by all means, shoot comments in there and I'll be more than happy to try to help you and try to go back and maybe, if I need to, make another video on being more clear. If you want a video on more tips on how to sell items to people at fairs and markets and stuff, by all means, hit me up and I will be more than happy to do a video on that. Guys, again, check out the affiliate link in the description for Sportsman's Guide. When you support my sponsors, you support me, or support my sponsors and my affiliates, you support me so I can keep doing this content. But guys, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one. God bless. Keep hammering.